And it's not sorted. I just compulsively buy her books and don't read them. And then the other one that I auto-buyed, I was gonna say is a debut to that. It's a sequel to that, because I am nothing if not a compulsive book shopper. It's the end of the week and I am fried. Flash automobile. Hi everybody, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter and Converse, and welcome to my 2024 auto buys, auto reads, authors that I know and love, the books that are definitely on my radar for this year. So absolutely have already, I was gonna say auto-buyed, already pre-ordered some of these books. It is the third week in January, so some of them are already here. And because it is the third week of January, there is a lot of uncertainty towards kind of once we get into September, it gets real muddy and confusing and we're not quite sure what's happening with releases then. So caveats, asterisks, all the things. A, not all new releases have been announced yet. B, all dates are subject to change. C, more books will be coming. So there's books that I haven't talked about in this video because I don't even know that they exist yet. And there's probably a D and I just don't know what it is. So this is not everything that is in my, I need to close this tab here because it's going berserk. This is not simply a repeat of like my most anticipated of January. That's like every book that's caught my eye. This is really a high level overview of my auto buy authors, my favorite authors who have new books coming out this year that I am planning to get my greedy little mitts on so I can read them. So let me just start this with the biggest piece of news for me. Ashley Winstead does not have a book coming out in 2024. I know. She has two books coming out in 2025, which I'm very excited about. She has her new thriller, which is inspired by sort of the true crime fanaticism that happened around the Idaho 4 case. And then she has her contemporary, like musicians, stuff. I will link her website down below. So she's branching into a new category with her contemporary, and then she is sticking with her thriller for next fall. She is not, it appears at this time, continuing with her rom-com series, which really hurts my heart because I really loved Fool Me Once and The Boyfriend Candidate, but we'll see what happens next. So anyway, just no Ashley Winstead news, unfortunately. I don't know. I'm just gonna have to reread all of her books this year to make up for it. And then as of this moment, I am not aware of a Jennifer Hillier release. She's been functioning on she's been operating on an every 2 years book. So I was hoping we would have news for her for 2024. So time will still tell, keeping my fingers crossed, but let me just get those out of the way first. So a couple others to get out of the way first are books that have already come out in January. So I have just started reading First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. Hardly into it at all. I just started reading it this afternoon. Absolutely excited for this book. I'm not going to tell you what every single book is about because we would be here for 100 hours, but this has had all the buzz. It's the Reese Book Club. It was a Book of the Month book. It is everywhere. I'm super excited for her as an author, and this is a con woman, and I'm just really hoping things are going to go wrong. So that is happening. And then I actually have 3 books that I've already read. Look at me. The first one is The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. This is rich people behaving badly. The most notorious richest woman in North Carolina dies. It is what happens with her family. And I just loved everything about it. And also what happened when she was alive. We get epistolary timeline. We get an epistolary point of view. We get multiple timelines. It's fantastic. Only If You're Lucky by Stacey Willingham. I had the e-arc of this and then my pre-order just literally showed up this afternoon. Super excited about this. This was a little bit of a pivot for her. So this focuses on 4 college-age students, and they are living in the house next door to a fraternity house, which is owned by the fraternity brothers. And when the book opens, we know somebody is dead and somebody is missing. And then we also get multiple timelines in this one. Loved it, had a very good time with it. And last but not least is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. This came out in January in the US. This comes out in February in the UK. I actually ordered the UK copy of this, and then at the end of December I wound up getting this physical arc from Celadon, which was totally unexpected. So I have read this, but I'm very excited for my UK cover, which I think I've like done this before, is coming in February. So I'm excited for that. So those are some of the February books. And then still left in February is Everyone on This Train is a Suspect by Benjamin Stevenson. Let me do the shimmy dance so I can have some more room to pop here. So he wrote Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, which I read last year and absolutely loved. It is a fourth wall breaking, very good humor filled murder mystery. I absolutely loved it. And on this one, so our main character, Ernie Cunningham, is a writer of like mystery how-tos. So he definitely understands the genre, and the fourth wall breaking has a lot of fun with it. So in this book, he is on a train with like certain kind of stereotypical detectives, and somebody winds up getting murdered and they have to figure out who done it. So highest of expectations for this one. This comes out on the 30th and I will be absolutely getting it. So I'm very excited for that. So I have already pre-ordered 2 February books, A Step Past Darkness by Vera Kurian. So she wrote Never Saw Me Coming. I almost said Nobody Saw Me Coming. Never Saw Me Coming, which was about Chloe, who was a psychopath and part of a secret study at a college, where she has gone to college with the intent of killing someone else, but meanwhile someone is out to kill the psychopaths in the study. So it's like very cat and mouse, and Chloe is very like, I don't have time to be hunted. I'm trying to hunt somebody else and kill them. So no, thank you. And then, so her new one, A Step Past Darkness, is, I want to say it's like a group of friends, maybe some past and present timeline. When I auto buy some of these, I don't even care what the books are about. There's a whole reason that they're on like auto buys for me, but I'm excited for this one. And then the other one that I pre-ordered, which is an auto buy, is Island Witch by Amanda Giatisa. So she wrote My Sweet Girl and she wrote You're Invited, both of which I've read. They're all standalone books. And her newest one, I believe, has like some actual maybe witchy vibes to it. I do have the e-arc of this, so it's on my reading agenda for February. I will put all the actual release dates down below because I was not that smart when I put this list together. But it's based in like some Sri Lankan folklore, and I think there might be, I don't know if it's like supernatural or like folklore witchcraft. I'm not totally sure, but I'm excited. I'm a big fan of her writing, and I'm excited, I just said that, to read that one. So I also just want to say, like, there's definitely a lot of other books that I'm excited about. So I think I'm going to make a video of most anticipated but maybe more under the radar books. Let me know if you would be interested in that, because as I was putting this list together, I was like, I'm definitely intrigued by a lot of these, but I'm not necessarily going to pre-order them. They might be like post-order, so we'll see. Anyway, March, we have Watch It Burn by Kristen Bird. So I just finished the e-arc of this. This is the 3rd of her books that she has written and that I have read, and I've loved them all. This might be my favorite, or I don't know if it's just like new book syndrome, but this is about 3 friends who come together to kind of solve the murder mystery of one of the most renowned women in town, who happens to be married to this man who started this kind of cult-like organization called Genetive Inc. that is basically taking over the town. So we definitely get some heavier, weighty subject matter. There's a lot about grief and loss in this book. There is some definite toxic masculinity to this. There definitely are some cultish vibes to this. And there's some great mystery to it. So I totally enjoyed it. I've already pre-ordered this book as well. And then I wound up getting the ARC after the fact. So I had the e-arc of this. But happy to support her. She's a fantastic author and she's just lovely. So very excited about that. And then I have Expiration Date by Rebecca Searle. So I have been a big fan of her books. This is her first like true romance. So a lot of her books have been pitched as love stories, but they are alternate love stories in that she explores the love between 2 best friends, like the non-romantic love between 2 best friends, the love and relationship between a mother and daughter. But this one is about a girl, a woman. Like Rebecca Searle kind of always plays with a little magical realism, but grounded in reality. So my understanding is like she gets letters every time she starts dating someone new with the expiration date of how long that relationship's gonna last. And I believe she starts dating someone new and doesn't get a letter, so maybe it's forever. I don't know. I'm not totally sure. I'm sure I'm butchering the description of that, but I know that this is like her first true love story book, but I'm excited for that one. And then Tana French has a new book, The Hunter. So I am definitely behind on Tana French. Definitely behind on Tana French. So I've read 3 books in the Dublin Murder Squad series. I have not yet read The Searcher, and I believe The Hunter is a debut to that. It's a sequel to that. It's the end of the week and I am fried. But I'm excited for anything Tana French. So on my radar for sure. We'll definitely be reading this, but this one just might get bumped a little bit because I believe I need to read the first book first. So that makes some sense. And then I have Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintira. This is a new to me author. And actually, let me see if this is the debut. I have the e-arc of this. And this is her adult debut. I always get tripped up when it's like pitched as a debut, but then you find out that they've written a whole bunch of YA books. So like adult debut, which is the same with Ashley Elston. She's written YA books, but this is her adult debut. So I just realized I forgot to talk about another book. Okay, hold on. So this one, I know I said I'm not going to talk about all the books. After Lucy is found wandering the streets, covered in her best friend Savvy's blood, everyone thinks she's a murderer. Lucy and Savvy were the golden girls of their small Texas town, pretty smart and enviable. So Lucy can't remember anything about what happened that horrible night. She has since moved away to LA and started a new life, but now a true crime podcast, Listen for the Lie, and its 2 good-looking host Ben Owens have decided to investigate Savvy's murder for the show's 2nd season, forcing Lucy to return to the place she vowed she would never set foot in again to solve her friend's murder, even if it means that she is the one who did it. This book has been kind of everywhere, so I'm very excited for it. And again, I do have the e-arc of it, so I will be reading that one. And then, let me see, what else do we have here? Just a shout out for Steve Kavanaugh's Kill for Me, Kill for You. This is coming out in the US in March. It came out in the UK last year, and thanks to one of my fantastic viewers, I found out about it, was notified of it, was told about it, and I bought it from Blackwell's and I already read it. If you like Steve Kavanaugh, if you've read some of his books, this is a standalone, so you can go into it not having read anything else. If you like his writing, it's kind of a no-brainer, and it has a Strangers on the Train vibe to it, so it's all you need to know. It's all you need to know. It's fantastic. Cruising into April, we have Funny Story by Emily Henry. I screamed because I got the e-arc of this and didn't see it coming. Didn't expect it. Very excited about it. I have already pre-ordered this one as well. I'm a huge Emily Henry fan. I have been inexplicably holding on to People We Meet on Vacation because it's the only one of her adult books I haven't read yet. And I have like this fear that I'm just not going to have a book in my back pocket of hers to read when, in all fairness, I could go back and reread the other ones. But Funny Story is the name of the new one. I don't even know what it's about. It doesn't matter to me what it's about. I'm going to read it. So I'm very excited for that one. And then coming out in the US, which I already own, is A Game of Lies by Claire McIntosh. I haven't read it yet, but this is the 2nd book in the D.I. Fionn Morgan series. So The Last Party was the 1st book. So if you enjoyed that series / enjoy her as an author, that is coming out in the US. So you can mark your calendars for that one. And then have not bought this yet, but Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose. So I talked about this in a vlog I did in December, end of November. It's all a big blur. There's a Barnes & Noble exclusive edition where it looks like a VHS tape and the book slides into the case. And the whole idea is there are, I want to say, 3 siblings who are cleaning out their parents' house, and they find a VHS tape and they are led to believe that their parents maybe killed somebody because it's on the tape, and they need to figure out what the heck they are seeing and what happened. I am a massive Geneva Rose fan. I mentioned this in another video from last year too, where I'm like, I've read everything she's written except her newest rom-com, It's a Date Again. And then I found out that she had 2 books in a procedural series that she wrote before kind of A Perfect Marriage hit. So I wound up buying those. They're up even higher. So I didn't put her on my read to 0. I should have put her on my read to 0. She is definitely someone I want to read to 0, but Home is Where the Bodies Are is got has all of my attention. Okay, and then for May, we have This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. Every Summer After, you guys know, like broke me and wrecked me, and I loved everything about it. So Meet Me at the Lake was last year's title, which I very much enjoyed. And then we have This Summer Will Be Different. Don't know anything about it. Very excited for it, and we'll be reading that one. And then Ruth Ware has a new book coming out called One Perfect Couple. She teased us, you guys, with that special edition UK cover with the painted edges and all the things that you can only get from 2 indie bookstores in the UK. I went to one of them, and I don't even think they shipped to the US. And then I went to the other one, and it's £30 in shipping. So I'm going to have to live without that book, unfortunately, but it's beautiful. So I'm just going to have to settle for the US edition of it when it comes out. But you know that she's an auto-buy for me. So I still need to read 0 Days, which is her book that came out last year, but I have otherwise read all of her books. And again, I don't know what it's about, but I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. So I'm excited for that one. And then another book / author that I auto-buy but still have a book to read from is Lucy Foley. So her new book is called The Midnight Feast. This comes out in June. I think I said June. And I still need to read The Paris Apartment, but The Hunting Party is one of my all-time favorite books. And I love her darkness. I love her dark characters. And I'm just a big fan of her writing and her mystery puzzling. So I'm excited for this. And then Danielle Valentine has a new book coming out called Two Sides to Every Murder. I actually don't know. Let me check if this is YA or not. So she wrote How to Survive Your Murder. I can't do 2 things at once. I'm not supposed to be multitasking. This looks to be YA. Hold on. So How to Survive Your Own Murder was a YA book, which is very much Scream-inspired horror. Loved it. So this one is 2 teens who return to the site of a famous murder case that sealed their fates. So yes, it's YA. Yes, I'm very excited about it. And they have to go to a place called Camp Lost Lake to find the truth. I don't even want to read about it. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I'm very, very excited. She wrote Delicate Condition, which is an adult novel, so I wasn't sure which way this one went, but I'm excited for this. And then one of my most anticipated books of next year, Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. You guys know I'm going to beg every single way humanly possible to get an e-arc of this or an arc of this, and we'll see what happens. But this is the only thing I know about this is the first time he has a male POV as one of his POVs in the book. So I know that there's a female as well. So I don't know if it's just the 2. I know he wrote the book within the book Home Before Dark, which was from why am I blanking on her name? Her father's. He's never too far away. It's gonna bother me. What is her name? Maggie Holt. So House of Horrors, the book within the book, was written by her dad, but you're not really getting a male perspective per se. So his new book does have a male POV, and I think it's like murdery suburban, which will be fun. And then definitely antenna up for the next Mrs. Parrish by Liv Constantine. The last Mrs. Parrish, which was their debut, that's a sister team of Lynn and Val Constantine. I always have to take a minute. And the last Mrs. Parrish is my favorite of all of their books. So I have read most, but not all. I think I've read maybe half of their books. So I'm very interested in this one to see what's going to happen next and where we're going to pick up. And it's a perfect excuse to reread The Last Mrs. Parrish because I haven't read that since the first time I read it. And I think I talked about last year. I think last year I talked about rereading it. So what a perfect opportunity. I will definitely be up for that. And then this might be one of my most anticipated books of next year. The Talent for Murder by Peter Swanson. So I have not pre-ordered any of these books yet. And so for the Ruth Ware book, I was waiting to see what the UK cover looked like. For Peter Swanson, I am waiting to see what the UK cover looks like. I like the US cover very much and would be very happy with it. But I don't want to make a decision in a vacuum because he often gets really good UK covers. So that is just a matter of when, not if, I'm going to pre-order it. And this includes characters from the Kynworth Killing and the Kynworth Saving, which is all I know about this book. So do with that what you will, but I'm so excited for that one. He is on my read to zero, and I have 2 books before this one to read, which is not to say I have to read them before this one, but I have 2 books in addition to this one to read, and then I'll be at 0 for him. Okay. And then Such a Bad Influence by Olivia Mentor. So she is one of the co-hosts of the Bad on Paper podcast, which is one of my favorite podcasts. She is so fantastic. This is a thriller. She's a thriller writer. She has a fantastic Substack. She has been blogging and writing for years. I love her perspective. I love her approach to things. I love her transparency. Becca Freeman is her co-host. So Becca wrote the Christmas Orphans Club, which came out last year, which I read and very much enjoyed. And I'm very, I would say a little bit more excited for this because it's thrillery. And I think it maybe has serial killer vibes to it. I'm not sure yet. Her cover reveal, I think she said is coming next week. So I'm going to pre-order it anyway, but I'm super curious what the cover is going to look like. So I'm excited for this. She is a debut author. She lives in the Hudson Valley, which is not near me, but I know it. So she feels like a local to me author in that sense, but I'm excited to pre-order this and to support her, and just very, very cool. And then we're going to go into July. I know I'm talking super, super fast, you guys. So The Wilds by Sarah Pierce. This is the 3rd book in the, darn it, what's her name? It was the sanatorium and the retreat. I'm so ill-prepared. Why am I going to turn around to grab a book? I'm just going to Google it. So this is a series. I have not yet read The Retreat, but I have it because of course I do. Because I am nothing if not a compulsive book shopper. So Detective Ellen Warner is the series. So The Sanatorium was the first one. And I'm very excited just to see what happens next. So I have read nothing about this book because I haven't read The Retreat yet, and I don't know if there's any potential spoilers. So I will be tuning in for this one. And then May Cobb's new book, The Hollywood Assistant, is coming out. I love May Cobb so much. So I have read all of her books except for her first one, which I did thrift, and I was going to say I have it upstairs. I have it up on my shelf, so I need to read that. She's another easy read to zero because I've got one to go and one coming out. But I love her dark and messed upness. I love her rich people behaving badly. I love her perspective on women and just her infusion of Xanadu in her last book. But I feel very connected to her books, and she uses movies a lot as inspiration, kind of like Riley Sager does. So I like that very much. Very, very much. And John Fram has a new book called No Road Home. So he wrote The Brightlands, which was a real surprise hit for me because it definitely was a little bit out of my wheelhouse. It definitely has some ghosty, creepy vibes to it. And I was really blown away by how much I enjoyed this book. It's weighty and it's impactful. Another one with toxic masculinity in it. It's a fantastic book. I highly recommend it. Small Texas town, small-mindedness, missing person, a lot of past and present connections. So very good. So I'm curious about his new one, which is independent of that, but his first book since this. So that makes it exciting for me. And then we have We Love the Nightlife by Rachel Collar Croft. She wrote Stone Cold Fox. I have already heard amazing stuff about this book. People like Jordy from Jordy's Book Club already have the inside track on this, which is goals. So anyway, excited for that. And then Jessie Q. Sutanto has a new book called You Will Never Be Me. I'm going to mess up the title of it. Hold on. I'm Not Done With You Yet. So this was her adult thriller debut. She has written comedy, romance, YA, thriller. She definitely is an author who can pivot seamlessly, very much like a Geneva Rose and an Ashley Winstead. So I'm a huge fan of hers, and I'm excited to read this one. I'm Not Done With You Yet was one of my favorite books of 2023, so I will be diving into this one. And then another author who I love, who did YA and now writes adult thrillers, is Laurie Elizabeth Flynn, and her new book is called Till Death Do Us Part. And this is a woman finds out that her husband that she thought was dead is not dead at all. I think it's kind of like the tag on this. So she wrote The Girls Are All So Nice Here, which I loved. I think that was 2 years ago. It was definitely one of my favorite books of the year. And I want to say it was 2022 that one came out. So I'm excited to see what she's got cooking in this one. She did not have a book come out last year. So this is a like first book since then. And I'm going to be all over it when it comes out and slash ahead of it because I'm going to pre-order it because I can't wait to read it. So that's what we have. And then as we cruise into the end of the year, like as we get into September, it gets a little bit thinner on the releases and what's coming out. So for now, there's some books that are more like on my, a little bit under the radar slash, so like Jason Rekulak has a new book coming out. I have yet to read, what's his creepy one that I haven't read yet? Hidden Pictures? Hidden Pictures. I have yet to read that, so I'm like a little bit hesitant to auto-buy the next book in case he doesn't work for me. So stay tuned. Jess Lowry has the second book in her series that she started with the Taken ones, so the detectives that are in that book, which I haven't read that book yet. If you watched my 12 and 24, you will hear the whole sordid tale of Jess Lowry and I. And it's not sordid, I just compulsively buy her books and don't read them. So that's on me. So there's definitely some books that are coming out by authors that I am intrigued about. So let me know if you would like to see like a more under the radar list versus a people Audrey always talks about, and you guys are probably tired of hearing me talk about them, books that I want to get. So, but I do have one more that I didn't talk about for January. Hold on. No One Can Know by Kate Alice Marshall. I was mixed up because this was a December book of the month pick, but it came out in January. So I, in my head, had this as a December book. So I haven't read this one yet. I read her first adult thriller in December. That's when I did that vlog. I don't even know what day it is. What Lies in the Woods. And I really, really enjoyed it. So I read her YA book, The Vanishing, and it was creepy and dark and fantastic. And What Lies in the Woods really surprised me in the best way possible with how dark and messed up and just fantastic that it was. So this one also sounds equally great. This book is like so stiff, it doesn't even stay open. This is about some sisters, the Palmer sisters, and it's like they have to go back to their house. They left their home in Arden Hills and never returned, but Emma, one of the sisters, has to go back and live there, and it's her sisters own the place and her parents were murdered there, and I'm pretty sure her husband doesn't know the history or anything else. I think it's just going to be fantastically dark and messed up, so let the games begin, right? I'm very excited about this. I hear a fire truck in the distance. So that is going to do it for some of the books that I'm super excited about. But like I said, definitely books I'm going to pre-order and auto-read and/or auto-read. And we all know that pre-ordering is like one of the best ways that you can support an author. Hold please. I think you guys have figured out that I live in proximity to a firehouse, so this happens all the time. But anyway, these are books that I'm super excited about, and I want to be able to support these authors as I can when I can, and I just love me a new book, as you guys know. So let me know. Have you pre-ordered anything? Are you planning to pre-order anything? Is there, like, what's your most anticipated book of this year? Last year I definitely would say it was the Ashley Winstead, Midnight is the Darkest Hour. I think the Peter Swanson book, like Always Riley Sager, maybe the Jesse Q. Sutanto. I feel like my emotions are gonna shift and move as the year goes on. I'm really hoping we're gonna get Jennifer Hillier news, and we'll see. But yeah, there's just so many great books. And based on what I've read so far this year, so in addition to the ones I just showed you guys, I also read Rabbit Hole, which was gifted to me by Abby. So thank you so much, Abby. And I feel like there was one more. The Expectant Detectives I read. I have read, I think, 5 or 6 2024 books. Well, I'm reading one right now. Anyway, so many fantastic books. They've been so wonderful. I'm very excited for this year. I am feeling so optimistic about the amazingness of the books that are coming out this year. And it's just going to be a matter of finding the time to read them all. So on that note, again, let me know which book you're most excited about. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. You guys are the best that you put up with this. But it's just, I just get so excited about books, which you guys know. And I just want to shout about them. So shout back books that you love, books that you want to tell people about, books that you want to pass on. And I will see you guys in the next video. So take care, everybody. Bye.